Second time's a charm. Hello, everyone on the MyBC Consulting Facebook page. We are 1 minute behind. We experienced a little bit of technical difficulties. Welcome to 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the MyBC Consulting page, where I bring you a fun little, I would say, relationship builder exercise called the Where in the World Is ... a W5 story session where I bring long-standing connections, recent connections, and I ask them the all-important questions to go deeper in relationship of the W5 questions. So without further ado, who do I have on screen today?
Sharon Summerfield. I'm the founder of the Nourished Executive.
So what 5 who hats, Sharon, do you wear in this life?
Who hats? That's a great question. I'm a mom. I have 1 son and 2 stepsons. I am married to Joe. He's my high school sweetheart. We reconnected in 2015, and we're married a few years ago. I am the mom to a 4-legged dog. Our 4-legged dog is Shelby, and I have a small coaching business, the Nourished Executive, and those are, I'm the eldest of, I have 4 younger sisters and 4 nephews.
So as a family member, as a mom and a stepmom, what are some things you like to do with your family?
We like to go to the cabin. We like to go on walks. We eat very well. I actually relax in the kitchen, so I really like to bake, and I make a whole bunch of different recipes. Also like to take lots of different photos, and you know, I love photos of nature, and I love to share this little tip. When you go for a walk, capture a photo in nature, and then when you're back at work or wherever you are, revisit that photo, because even looking at photos of nature can be extremely grounding and really nourishing for your well-being.
So as a business owner of the Nourished Executive, what are some things you do in that role?
In that role, my whole idea behind the Nourished Executive was to help people prevent burnout, because you know, we're hearing so much about burnout and quiet quitting, and I believe through greater harmony, not work-life balance, through finding that harmony of all the pieces of our lives where we can have a professional life where it doesn't come at the cost of our overall life. So it's really helping people find a different way and step away from the badge of busyness.
Love that. So where do you live, and where can you serve as a life coach?
We live on Vancouver Island in Parksville, and I can meet people where they are, do a lot of connecting via Zoom. As you know, I'm really thankful for our connection through Tanya Hewitt. And you know, I like to connect people where they are. If it's easier, they're on Vancouver Island, I can meet them. But I find the virtual meetings seem to be working the best, as you know, we're heading, sadly, into another flu season, and it just helps people stay as healthy as possible. So whatever works for the individual.
So when did you decide that you wanted to start being a life coach and start your own business? What prompted that?
Well, that's an interesting story. I worked for a global engineering firm as an executive assistant. I had an organizational role. I had a project role working on the South Fraser Perimeter Road project, amazing project. And I also was leading a community investment initiative off the side of my desk. And when I went to go work on the South Fraser Perimeter Road project, I had a 3-hour commute. I was living in North Vancouver at the time, and I discovered the joy of audiobooks, but I started to get sick. I was balancing all these balls, and I had to start looking at who I could best harmonize with, what kind of work was where I could bring my best to it. And then I had to make choices on what I would say no to. And that's where I really started thinking about, okay, I'm looking at, I saw a lot of people really struggling, and I'd always had an interest in nutrition. So when I was laid off after my project role came to an end, I then started looking at nutrition programs, looking at doing life in a different way. I was reading tons of stuff on value-based leadership, doing the not work-life balance, but finding that harmony in what you do, finding that a different way of doing life. And so I ended up taking a role with an electronic health project, and I was breaking commitments to myself on how I was going to work. And I wasn't experiencing that harmony. And so often we make these commitments to ourselves where, we're going to eat better, we're going to show up better, we're going to be present, we're not going to work as much. But that became a deal breaker for me. I eventually left the project within 4 months of finishing my nutrition program, and then launched the Nourished Executive. And I started doing simple things, like I started creating recipes. I started the conversation. I joined the Canadian Cancer Society to work with a friend as her executive assistant. Was invited to, because I was a registered holistic nutritionist, I was asked to join the wellness committee. I was asked to do a lunch and learn. And so that's where it really, really started, that we can do things differently. But sadly, I was in an accident and then injured my right side. So had to really start adapting some of the principles that I was talking about for other people with myself. Like sometimes it's so easy to make suggestions to other people. Have you considered this? Have you considered that? But we're not doing that for ourselves. So injuring my right side, I really had to look at things I could, what I could do, and celebrate that, and then continue the conversations around that we can step away from the badge of busyness. We can find those ways to be, I like to use the word, be nourished in all you do.
I love that. Love that. So, Sharon, what's your why in life?
My why in life is to make a difference and help to lift others. It became really front and center when I was working for C.H. Truman Hill and launched a community investment initiatives with a local elementary school, an inner city school, a school of mostly newcomers. And these people have left their homes in other parts of the world and moved to Vancouver. And starting these conversations. Okay, how can I support you? What's the one way I can help you? Or how can we help each other? And was invited to be part of a conversation circle where these moms would come together. And that spirit of supporting each other was so absolutely incredible. And that started to feed all the different things that I could do. Okay, what are some of the things that we can do from an organization standpoint that don't cost the organization any money, but can help make a difference in these families' lives? So I think and that has really fueled me. Like, I really strongly believe in giving back, in supporting local community. Like my cards, I have this is one of my Christmas cards, and it's of one of my photos, and it's all my printing is done with our local printer, Parks West, here in Parksville. And I was printing with Vistaprint. Once we moved to the island, realized I could get a better quality, but it wasn't so much the end product, it was the relationship. And to me, it's always, always about the relationship. It's that engagement piece. How can we come together? How can we share ideas? I might be able to help you. You might be able to help me, but maybe not. But maybe I'm going to talk to someone who may, and I'm like, oh, I bet Jeanette would be a great person for her to connect with. It's finding those ways of fostering and building those relationships, which has always been at the core of everything I've done.
Love that. I come up with a phraseology. This was a couple of 3 years ago, as is when you build a relationship, you're building a vehicle that you get to drive each other's success. When you make a sale, you're giving the person the fuel to sail away. So where do you want to build your business? I most definitely always love to build relationships. So thank you, Sharon, for, I'm sure, sharing such a tiny part of your unique to you W5 story with me today. We're going to make sure afterwards in the Facebook chat and where this video is going to be living, YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook, that we make sure Sharon puts her information below in the chat so you can get in touch with her, because I just know there's people out there that are nature lovers and have pets and have families and blended families. There's a story there to be able to be in alignment to start a new relationship with you, Sharon. So thank you so much.
And thank you. And remember, be nourished in all you do.
Absolutely. Great words of wisdom. Thank you, everybody.